Spirit Flyer series, book 2, the toy campaign. Book 1 was the magic bicycle, how a bicycle found a boy. You know, on the gates of heaven, as you look at it, the wicket gate, it says, "Whosoever will." You go through the door of salvation, and on the other side it says, "You were chosen, you were elected." So, Spirit Flyer series is about bicycles that find people, angels that find people, and help them out through their life, and keep them safe. The demons are the bad people. Magic versus tragic. Good people versus bad people. Good powers of good versus the powers of evil. The good forces of Middle Earth against the dark forces of Sauron and Saruman and the orcs. Okay, the toy campaign, number 9. That's the chapter title, is the toy campaign. Barry Smedlow turned onto the old dump road at breakneck speed as he guided his black 10-speed between the deep potholes and ruts. As he guided his black 10-speed between the potholes and ruts, deep potholes and ruts, he tried to imagine what kind of treasures awaited discovery at the dump. Since he had heard John Kramer talking about toys at the dump before, he was sure there must be something to the story. He was panting heavily by the time he passed through the old iron gate. The dump seemed abandoned. The mounds of trash were quiet under the darkening cloudy sky. The smell of rotten garbage was so bad that it made his eyes water. Then he saw the freshly dug pit and the pile of boxes and forgot about the awful odors. In front of the pit, he saw a bicycle lying in the dirt. Though it might have just been his watery eyes, the large pile of... I gotta get some more light in here. Hang on. Okay. Sorry. You see my face now? That better now. Okay. Read my lips. No new taxes. Ha ha ha. My wife used to say, "Let me put my glasses on so I can hear you better." As you can read lips, it helps. Okay, so anyway. A lot of people read lips unknowing. We don't know we're reading lips, but we are to some degree. It helps. Even watching a movie, I know it helps me. My brain's not fast enough to read the lips or know but it helps. Okay, shut up. Though it might have been just his watery eyes, a large pile of trash glimmered in a mirage, like a mirage in the desert. Barry's heart pounded as he pedaled closer for a better look. Barry stopped and inspected the abandoned Goliath Cobra Deluxe. He looked around the dump, wondering who could have left the bicycle there. Then he saw an open box that appeared to be full of brand new baseball gloves. Someone did dump a load of toys, Barry whispered to himself in awe. He rolled toward the small mountain of boxes and trash. He was about to jump off his bike when he noticed the black, shiny surface, half hidden under the dust. Barry stopped the front wheel of the bike on the edge of the black surface. He leaned over the handlebars and looked down. He wasn't exactly surprised to see his dark reflection looking back at himself, but the black glass or plastic or whatever it was seemed vaguely familiar. "I wonder if it's the same kind of glass," Barry said to himself. He rode out over the black surface, staring at the box full of baseball mitts. But before he got 5 feet, the bike stopped moving. Barry looked down and was surprised to see both tires of the Goliath Cobra Deluxe rapidly sinking down into the black surface as if it were a pit of tar. Barry yelled just as the black surface gave way completely. In an instant, both bike and boy were swallowed up, then everything was darkness. I think from now on I'll talk for a little bit until 1 or 2 people get on. I'm sorry, guys. Who's on? Zapton and... when their lips are moving, obviously, yeah. Okay. I know a lot of people like that. There's one guy here like that now. I don't like it. Your lips are moving. You must be lying to me. One guy starts almost every word out, every phrase out with, "Well, to be honest with you," and Bill and I both noted that if someone has to feels they have to say that, that means that every other time they don't say it, they're lying to you. Because when they say, "To be honest with you," they're actually intending to be honest. They're trying to be honest, but most of the time they're not honest. And that's true of this guy. I'll put his name out, David Ray. You know, he lied about me right in front of Bill. Said I'd threatened him, which is a lie. And another lady here lies all the time about me. Everybody knows Jerry's a liar. Well, I know somebody that has watched me enough of my research online that I read stuff I wrote 10 years ago and confronted me with it or just reminded me of it. And he says, "I know you don't lie. I'll watch your videos." He's watched like all my videos. Haley knows I don't lie, and Timothy knows I don't lie. Timothy made one of the most awesome, deep, and profound and true statements I've ever heard in my life, and it goes like this. Because I talked to him, I said, "Look, I got this problem." I said, "People pretend they act like I don't exist. I talk, they don't hear me. I can be sitting in the same room, right in front of them, they don't hear me. They just go on talking like I didn't say anything." I said, "Why is that?" And he goes, "Well, I've had that same problem my whole life." He says, "When someone's life is based on a lie, they can't hear truth. When people don't have truth in their lives, they can't hear truth. So if you're speaking truth, they can't hear it, and they're going to call you a liar because they are angry with you. They don't like you." So that's true. And this woman here accused me of lying and stealing and stuff like that. Well, she's accusing me of things that are not true. Therefore, she's the liar. Because I know 3 people. She said everybody knows Jerry's lying. Well, I can name 3 people at least, probably a lot more than that. Nathan Snow, James Weber, et cetera, Haley, and Timothy, that know I'm not a liar. That I tell truth. As a rule of thumb, I tell truth. Not as a rule of thumb, as a fact, I tell truth. I don't lie to people. So, when people lie, they think they can accuse you of lying because they can twist facts in their head. They lie to themselves, therefore you're the liar. They make you out to be the liar. That's what people do. Very bad, very evil, totally evil. And it turns into bitterness and unforgiveness and hatred and everything else that these people are infected with. So I talked to Bill tonight. I said, "Look, why is this guy in the problem? Why is he in the situation he is in? He's got 20 days to get out of where he's at because he lied about the friend, his best friend. He lied about him and stabbed him in the back. He's been talking all kinds of shit about him, all kinds of evil stuff about him, speaking evil about him. Exactly the same thing he did to me, and I'm the reason he's here. If I hadn't called him 15 minutes after he posted his number online, he would not be here. He wouldn't have had 3,000 free meals. He's down there eating right now, eating a free meal because of me, because of my love for people, my concern for people. I called him 15 minutes after he posted his name on his holy church. Stabbed me in the back, lied about me, told me that I threatened him, which is a lie because I don't threaten people, period. I let their own conscience deal with it. I might have said something that gave his mind a start, about something bad happening, but I didn't threaten him. I did not threaten him. He threatened me one time to beat me up. So anyway, something here triggered that. Sorry about that. Shiny black surface, gooey glass. What, some kind of glass pit? So the bike's sinking down to the surface as if it were a pit of tar. Barry yelled just as the black surface gave way completely. In an instant, both bike and boy were swallowed up. Then everything was darkness. Barry was still yelling when he heard the sound of a pop. He blinked his eyes and shook his head. "Nice of you to drop by, my boy," Mrs. Harpy said. Said, putting a long black hook away into her carpet bag. Remember, she had stuck it into the black window and then pulled. She was pulling Barry in. The other hook faded into her hand before Barry could see what was happening. Barry shook his head and stared at the smiling old woman. "Drop up?" he asked. "Nice of you to drop up, my boy." "Drop up?" he asked. He looked at his feet. He was still on his bike. And the bike was on top of a long black rectangle object that resembled a window. The boy dived off the black bike as if to get away. His Goliath Cobra Deluxe crashed to the floor. "Up, down, sideways, it makes no difference to me," the old woman said. "You're here, and you're welcome, you lucky boy." "Lucky?" Barry asked. "What happened? What happened to the dump?" You stumbled into something very big, my boy, when you stumbled into that pile at the dump, Mrs. Happy said with a smile. Of course, you couldn't quite help it. That dump is one of our testing grounds. Testing grounds, Barry asked. What are you talking about, and where am I? Barry looked around and saw that he was in the toy store. A workman rolled in a sealed cardboard box. The big boxes were all over the store. Excuse me a minute, my boy, Mrs. Happy said. I have some work to attend to first with these men, and then I'll explain what has happened. In the meantime, have some candy. Mrs. Happy gave Barry a purple bowl full of wrapped candies. Barry smiled when he saw them. Sweet temptations, he said, grabbing a handful. He quickly unwrapped two of the marble-shaped candies that looked like a cat's green eyes. Haven't had any of these in a while. While Mrs. Happy talked to the men, Barry crunched up the first two candies and stuffed two more into his mouth. I gotta get some water. Maybe coffee. Got a bit of one hand. Come on, fork. I haven't had any of these in a while. While Mrs. Happy talked to the men, Barry crunched up the first two candies and stuffed two more into his mouth. Bits of candy and drool dribbled down his chin. The big boy wiped it off with his sleeve and unwrapped another piece. The workmen rolled their carts out the front door and closed it behind them. Mrs. Happy walked over to Barry. I've got boxes and boxes of this candy, Mrs. Happy said with a twinkle in her eye. I give it to all my friends, and I'm sure you'll be one of my best friends. Now tell me again, what did you say happened? Well, it all started yesterday when I heard these two jerky kids, John and Susan Kramer. Turn the page. Out talking behind your store, Barry began. Mrs. Happy nodded wearily as she listened to his story, rather bored to hear such a limited report of what she already knew. Yet she let Barry talk, since she knew it made him feel important. She unwrapped another candy and stuffed it in his mouth. But before I could reach the pile of toys, I got sucked into that thing and ended up here. You told me you would explain what's going on, the president of the Cobra Club demanded. You stumbled into something very big out in the dump, my boy, the woman replied. Very big, so big I'm not sure I can tell you. No, not tell me, Barry exclaimed. Not unless you swear you'll never breathe a word of this secret, the old woman said. Your very life could be at stake. In fact, the life of every person in this town may hang in the balance of keeping this secret. Wow, Barry said. I didn't know it was that serious. It's more than serious, my boy, the old woman said. But I think I can trust you. I warn you, however, if I let you in on the secret and you break the trust, you'll be more in trouble. You'll be in more trouble than you can ever know. I won't tell, Barry said. I promise. Good, then you won't mind signing this oath, the old woman said. She pulled out a piece of paper from nowhere, it seemed. Then she grabbed Barry's hand. She reached into her pocket with her other hand and held out a long silver needle. The sharp point glistened. All we need is a drop of blood on this document. My blood, Barry said, drawing back his hand. What, with that thing? Don't be such a baby, Mrs. Happy laughed. You want to know the secrets, don't you? If you sign this oath, you will know things that no one else knows. Good things and bad things. Things not even your parents know. My parents don't know much anyway, Barry said, looking nervously at the needle. Let me show you a picture of it. And turn the page. Quit stalling, Mrs. Happy snapped. You signed an oath like this for the Cobra Club, did you not? Well, that was a loyalty oath, the big boy said. Not so is this, the woman replied, and it won't hurt a bit. Do you want to know some of the most secret secrets or not? I guess so, Barry said. The old woman jabbed the needle into the tip of his right index finger, without hesitating. Ouch, Barry yelped. He stared at the drop of blood. Mrs. Happy wiped her mouth as she too stared at the blood. Her eyes looked wild for a moment. Well, Barry said, are you going to let me sign? Or am I going to sit here and bleed to death? Quit complaining, the old woman said. She pressed the finger down on the piece of paper, leaving a red fingerprint. I don't need to sign my name. A fingerprint is enough for us. What does the writing say? It says that you've sworn to keep government secrets. What do all those little words at the bottom say? Just a few details and rules. We don't have time for all that now, the old woman replied. She looked at the fingerprint closely. Good. The blood has dried and the oath is complete. Now you are now one of us. Don't delete all those. Just delete. I want to go and block them. So only delete one. Delete all but one. Leave one on there for me, guys. Thank you. What a piece of work these people are. You are now one of us. Who are we? Barry asked. Did you say the government? That's right, Mrs. Happy said. I represent the government, or rather the government behind the government, so to speak. You mean like the Secret Service or something? Barry said. Exactly, Mrs. Happy said. And our company, Goliath Industries, with its smaller companies, the Goliath Toys, like Goliath Toys, is working in cooperation with the government. All Goliath employees are sworn to secrecy. Wow, Barry whispered. He rubbed his finger and ate another piece of candy. But why all the secrets? Because my government, our government, is facing an enemy invasion that could destroy all the work we've done for hundreds of years, the old woman said. The very world is threatened, in fact. It will take some time for you to learn all the details, but I can give you the big picture, my boy, at least for right now. Wow, Barry whispered again, but what does that have to do with that thing I fell in? You didn't fall exactly, Mrs. Happy said. You were recruited, my boy. The Bureau has been watching you for a long time, years in fact. You have leadership qualities. You've proven that in the time you've been president of the Cobra Club. We like your style. Well, I always thought I did have class, Barry said. He opened 2 pieces of Sweet Temptations. He popped one into his mouth and gave the other one to Mrs. Happy. Tell me more. The enemy has targeted Centerville for a secret invasion, Mrs. Happy said. Goliath Industries, of Spirit Flyers. Mrs. Happy said Goliath Industries has plans to reopen the old factory on the outside of town soon, perhaps by the end of the summertime. The factory will be used for some secret government defense projects, among other things, but these plans are being threatened. Though headquarters really isn't worried, the government has seen that it needs to take more extreme measures to counter the attack to limit the spread of the enemy. Really, Barry whispered, but who's the enemy? That's part of the problem, Mrs. Happy said. Everyone is a suspect, but we do know who some of them are. You do too. In fact, you were following them today. You mean John and Susan Kramer? Barry asked. I knew they were jerks, but I didn't know they were doing stuff like that. Well, they're part of the attack, all right, Mrs. Happy said seriously. We know because of the bicycles. You mean those junky old Spirit Flyers? Barry asked. But those are very peculiar bicycles. You yourself has witnessed some of that, some of the secret powers of the enemy. You yourself have witnessed some of the secret powers of the enemy is practicing with those bicycles. That makes sense, but a lot of strange things have been going on ever since John Kramer found that junk heap bike at the dump, Barry said, and nodded. But I didn't know it was part of some enemy invasion. They're tricky, no doubt about it, Mrs. Happy said, and powerful. The enemy has planted those bicycles in Centerville, using them for their own tests, no doubt. The Kramer children may not even be aware of what they have gotten themselves into. Then again, they may be cooperating with the enemy. In either case, we in the government have a few tricks up our sleeve also. We know that you have to fight fire with fire. That pit you stumbled into today, bringing you here, is just one of our own deeper devices. The government plans to use a number of experiments to fight the Spirit Flyer invasion. I'll let you in on a big secret. The toys we have coming in for our big grand opening celebration are not ordinary toys. We must arm this town, but in a way that won't cause alarm. We must arm this town, but not alarm it. I don't want people to panic. We don't want people to panic. I can see that, Barry said, nodding his head up and down. But we need a child on the inside, so to speak, to look out for things for us, the old woman said. A toy master, and Goliath Toys thinks you're the one, the big number one. Really, Barry said? Well, why don't you do it yourself? I mean, why doesn't the government just come in here and stop the enemy? It's not that simple, the old woman said impatiently. We have rules and regulations and procedures we have to follow. We have to use human-free I mean, well, it's rather hard to explain free will. It's like that oath you signed. We need your permission. And once you give your permission in a little small thing like that, then you are free to be used for really big, important tasks. It's rather like an army fighting in a way, in a war. We in Goliath Industries are the generals and the officers, but we need able soldiers, ordinary citizens like yourself, in the front lines where the action is really taking place. So you see, you are on the front lines here in Centerville. We'll be putting a good deal of trust in you. Wow, Barry whispered, feeling the pride well inside, though he wasn't really sure he understood the old woman. I told you we've been watching you, Mrs. Happy said. And on Independence Day, with our Goliath opening celebration, we'll begin our campaign to take back the lost ground the enemy has gained. First, we arm them during the day, then we will enlist them all at night when the fireworks begin, and no one can stop us. Then what exactly are you talking about? What can those old bicycles do? In the long run, make slaves of every person in this town, in this whole world, as a matter of fact. Flies or spiders or something, I don't know. Booger heads. Okay. Of course, that will never happen because the government is on the job. But the traders have learned some secrets, deeper secrets, stolen secrets. Yeah, right. That's what gives those bicycles the power they possess. We must neutralize that power. I've never seen bicycles like Spirit Barry said. They're ugly kids on red, sadly. Those bicycles look innocent enough, but they must be stopped. Sometimes we find it necessary to take more extreme measures to defeat them, like introducing a better line of toys. When most children see the toys we offer, they forget about wanting a Spirit Flyer. Toy campaigns have proven very successful in most places. The toy campaign here in Centerville will neutralize the enemy as we distribute our own safe products. I expect to gain a lot of permission slips signed by the end of the target date. We'll have a whole town full of children ready to fight the Spirit Flyer invasion. But why would they forget Spirit Flyers when they can do such amazing things, Barry asked. Because Spirit Flyers are just cheap limitations built on stolen secrets, the old woman said bitterly. These new improved toys will have deeper powers to please their owner, Centerville. Centerville, like many other places, has qualified to receive these toys. For instance, we have bicycles, Goliath Super Wings. Yeah, I've never seen them fly. That will make the Spirit Flyers look like mere trash heap bikes. Goliath Super Wings are so powerful next to a Spirit Flyer that it's like comparing a jet plane to a mere kite. Wow, Barry said. If I had a bicycle like that, I could be president or two or three Cobra clubs. With a powerful bike like that, you could be the prince of the town, my boy, and probably two or three other towns. I could blast those Kramers right out of the sky, Barry said. He was so excited his piece of candy popped right out of his mouth. Barry picked it up off the floor and started sucking on it again. Not so fast, young prince, Mrs. Happy said. In the right time. I hate flies. I'm going to start reading a little, get in my head again. What's going on? Okay. Not so fast, young prince, Mrs. Happy said. In the right time. If you are worthy, perhaps you'll qualify. As I said, these are special toys. We have to release the powers gradually and secretly. Not only you, but the other children of this town must prove worthy of the government's trust. It may take some time before the total plan can be carried out. Well, you can count on my support, Barry said angrily. And to think that those Kramers go around acting like goody two-shoes citizens. I didn't realize how deep this invasion went. Very deep, my boy, Mrs. Happy said. I can tell you more, but let's go back to my office. I can't say how deeply I am. I can't say how happy I am to know that you're on the Goliath team. Remember, the key word is secrecy. Barry followed the old woman to the back of the store. She picked up her basket of yarn and sat down. As she began to hook the black yarn, she took her tale. She told her tale, stitch by stitch, link by link, and lie by lie. And Barry was hooked on her every word. All right, good night. Too many berries around here. I'm surrounded by berries. God bless all the berries in my life, and liars and cheats and thieves and backstabbers. It's a good series of tapes, videos, and they're based on a book by Terry Fivash, T-E-R-I, Terry Fivash, F-I-V-A-S-H. And the title of the book and the lecture series is, well, the title of the book is How to Sit Down and Shut Up So That You Can Live the Stand Up and Speak Forth Christian, Speak Out Christian Life, something like that. The idea is let God take care of things. You know, when somebody throws poop at you, like I said, bury it. Fertilize yourself with it. Just bury it. Don't talk back. So I try to do that as much as possible, you know. So all these people that have been hurting me, backstabbing me, God bless them. One of the things she says is like, instead of letting the enemy live rent-free in your head, you know, it's kind of a 12-step thing, Alcohol Anonymous, AA thing, but, you know, instead of letting those thoughts live free in your head, you know, they can't live free, make them pay rent, you know, like Rock here, you know, you need to start paying some rent. But anyway, point is that instead of complaining and getting angry and upset and talking, you know, you're trying to sleep at night, you're upset over so-and-so did said to, you know, rehashing it over and over again. Instead of every time that the enemy, Satan, brings a bad person and somebody's hurt you to your mind, just say, God bless that person. God bless Deb. God bless Rock. God bless, God bless, God bless. You know, and you'll be surprised how soon your thoughts of that people stop coming to your mind. Because if every time you pray for that person, Satan's gonna stop. Every time Satan brings that person to your mind, and you pray for him or say God bless that person, and really pray God bless that person, you know, he's going to stop bringing them to your mind. And you're going to be able to sleep better. So that's pretty cool. And pray their heart changes, you know, and just pray for them that their heart changes. Because you can argue with somebody for 100,000 years, you're never going to change their mind. You're never going to change their heart. The only thing that can change their heart is the Holy Spirit. So don't try. Don't argue with them. I make them say it way too often, trying to talk sense into people. It's not possible. It's not humanly possible to talk sense into somebody's head. It's got to come from the heart. The Holy Spirit's got to be the one to lead them into truth. Not your job, not my job. Don't try. So sit down and shut up and let God take care of them. Then you can stand up and speak out, you know. Okay, anyway, that's good. All right, good night, guys.